Maya Johnson stood in front of the bathroom mirror, taking one last look at herself before heading to her first day at Lincoln High School. Her mom had braided her hair the night before, and she wore her favorite purple sweater with dark jeans. She wanted to make a good first impression, but butterflies danced in her stomach as she thought about walking into a completely new school where she knew nobody. The drive from Detroit to this small Oregon town had taken 3 days. Her dad got a new job at the local factory, and her mom said it would be a fresh start for their family. Maya wasn't so sure about that. She loved her old school, her friends, and even her teachers. Now she had to start all over again in a place that looked nothing like home. As her mom dropped her off in front of the red brick building, Maya noticed how different everything looked. The school was smaller than her old one in Detroit. Students were walking in groups, laughing and talking like they had known each other forever. Most of them were white, and Maya quickly realized she might be one of the only black students in the entire school. She pulled her backpack higher on her shoulders and walked through the front doors. The hallway was busy with students opening lockers and rushing to class. Maya checked her schedule for the 3rd time and looked for room 104. She could feel eyes watching her as she walked down the hall. Some students whispered to their friends while looking in her direction. Others just stared openly. Maya found her first class just as the bell rang. Mrs. Peterson, her history teacher, was a kind woman with gray hair who welcomed Maya with a warm smile. She asked Maya to introduce herself to the class. Maya stood up slowly, feeling 20 pairs of eyes focused on her. "Hi everyone, my name is Maya Johnson. I just moved here from Detroit with my family. I'm looking forward to getting to know you all," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. A few students smiled and said hello, but Maya noticed some others whispering and looking at her strangely. She sat down quickly and tried to focus on the lesson about the American Revolution. During the break between classes, Maya struggled to find her locker. The hallway was crowded and she felt lost in the sea of unfamiliar faces. A girl with short brown hair noticed Maya looking confused and offered to help. "You look lost. I'm Emma. Are you the new girl everyone's talking about?" she asked in a friendly voice. "Yeah, that's me. I'm Maya. I can't find locker 247, Maya replied, grateful for the help. Emma walked with Maya down the hall and helped her find her locker. "Don't worry about everyone staring. Small towns are like that. People will get used to you being here," Emma said before hurrying off to her next class. Maya's second class was English with Mr. Davis. The classroom was bigger than her history class, with windows facing the school courtyard. Maya chose a seat near the back, hoping to blend in and observe before trying to make friends. She was good at English back in Detroit, and hoped this would be a class where she could shine. As students filed in, Maya noticed 3 students who seemed to command attention from everyone else. There was Ashley White, a blonde girl with perfect hair and expensive clothes who looked like she stepped out of a magazine. She walked with confidence that bordered on arrogance, and other students seemed to move out of her way automatically. Next, to Ashley was Kevin Rodriguez, a boy with messy dark hair who was making jokes and trying to get laughs from the other students. He seemed desperate for attention and approval, especially from Ashley. Maya could tell he was the type who would do anything to stay popular, even if it meant being mean to others. The third person in the group was Tyler Brooks. Maya had heard other students mention his name in the hallway. He was tall and athletic, probably a basketball or football player. He wore his Letterman jacket like a badge of honor, and had the cocky attitude that often came with being a star athlete in a small school. When Mr. Davis asked Maya to introduce herself to this class as, well, she stood up with less confidence than before. The butterflies in her stomach had turned into full-sized birds flapping their wings. "I'm Maya Johnson. I moved here from Detroit. I'm excited to be in your English class," she said, sitting down quickly. That's when she heard Ashley's voice. Not quite a whisper, but not loud enough for the teacher to hear clearly. "Great, another diversity case. I guess they're really trying to meet their quotas now," Ashley said to Kevin and Tyler, who snickered in response. Maya felt her face grow hot with embarrassment and anger. She had heard comments like this before, but it still stung every time. She pretended not to hear and opened her notebook, but her hands were shaking slightly. Mr. Davis began the lesson on creative writing, but Maya found it hard to concentrate. She kept thinking about Ashley's comment and wondering if other students felt the same way. Were they all looking at her and thinking she didn't belong here? During lunch, Maya bought a sandwich and looked around the cafeteria for somewhere to sit. The room was full of groups that had clearly been established for years. She saw Emma from earlier sitting with some quiet-looking students and considered joining them, but she felt too nervous to interrupt their conversation. Instead, Maya found an empty table near the windows and sat alone. She tried to look busy by checking her phone and eating her sandwich, but she felt incredibly lonely. Back in Detroit, she always had friends to sit with at lunch. They would talk about their classes, make plans for the weekend, and laugh about silly things. As she sat there, Maya noticed Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler at a large table in the center of the cafeteria. They were surrounded by other popular students, and their laughter seemed to fill the entire room. Ashley was showing something on her phone, and everyone around her was reacting with excitement. Maya wondered what it would be like to be part of a group like that, to feel confident and accepted, instead of alone and out of place. But she also remembered Ashley's cruel comment from English class, and realized that even if she wanted to, she probably wouldn't be welcome at that table. The rest of the day passed slowly. Maya attended her remaining classes, math and science, where she mostly stayed quiet and tried to learn the material. Teachers were generally nice to her, but she could still feel the stares and whispers from other students following her through the hallways. When the final bell rang, Maya felt relieved that her first day was over. She gathered her books and headed toward the front doors where her mom would be waiting to pick her up. As she walked through the hallway, she overheard Ashley talking loudly to her friends about plans for the weekend. Maya pushed through the front doors and saw her mom's car waiting in the pickup line. As she got in, her mom immediately asked how her day went. "It was okay," Maya said, not wanting to worry her parents about the comments and stares. "The teachers seem nice, and the classes aren't too different from my old school." But as they drove home, Maya looked out the window at the unfamiliar streets and wondered if she would ever really fit in at Lincoln High School. She missed her old friends, her old teachers, and the comfort of being somewhere she belonged. This new place felt cold and unwelcoming, and she wasn't sure if that would ever change. Maya had been at Lincoln High School for 3 weeks now, and things were getting worse instead of better. What started as whispers and stares had turned into something much more serious. Ashley White, Kevin Rodriguez, and Tyler Brooks seemed to have made it their mission to make Maya's life as difficult as possible. It started small at first. Ashley would walk by Maya's locker and bump into her shoulder hard enough to make Maya drop her books. When Maya bent down to pick them up, Ashley would say things like, "Oops, sorry," in a fake sweet voice that fooled the teachers, but made it clear to Maya that it was no accident. Kevin had found a new hobby of making jokes about Maya whenever he got the chance. In English class, when Maya answered a question correctly, Kevin would whisper to his friends about how she was trying too hard to impress everyone. When Maya walked past his table at lunch, he would make comments about her hair, saying things like, "I wonder how long it takes to do all that," while mimicking the way she moved her head. Tyler was the worst of the three. He was bigger than Maya, and used his size to intimidate her. He would stand in doorways when he saw Maya coming, forcing her to ask him to move or find another way around. Sometimes he would move his backpack to block her path in the hallway, making her late for class. When teachers asked why she was late, Maya felt too embarrassed to explain that she was being bullied. The other students at school seemed to notice what was happening, but nobody said anything. Some looked uncomfortable when they saw Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler picking on Maya, but they were too afraid to speak up. Maya understood why. Ashley was popular and could make life difficult for anyone who crossed her. Kevin was funny and well-liked by many students. Tyler was a star on the basketball team, and the whole school supported the team. Maya started to dread going to school each morning. She would lie in bed and think of excuses to stay home, but her parents expected her to go to class every day. Her mom would make her favorite breakfast and ask about her friends at school. Maya would smile and make up stories about nice classmates and interesting lessons. but inside she felt empty and alone. Her grades started to suffer because it was hard to concentrate in class when she was always worried about what Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler might do next. In math class, she used to raise her hand to answer questions, but now she kept her head down and tried not to draw attention to herself. Her history teacher, Mrs. Peterson, noticed that Maya seemed quieter than when she first arrived, but Maya just said she was still adjusting to the new school. The worst part was lunchtime. Maya had started bringing her lunch from home so she could eat in empty classrooms instead of the cafeteria. She would find an unused room and eat alone while doing homework or reading. Sometimes she would sit in the library, but the librarian would remind her that food wasn't allowed there. One day, Maya made the mistake of trying to eat in the cafeteria again. She thought maybe things would be different, and she was tired of eating alone in empty rooms. She bought a slice of pizza and looked around for somewhere to sit. Most tables were full, but she spotted one with only a few students who didn't look like they were part of any particular group. Maya walked over with her tray and politely asked, "Is it okay if I sit here?" The students looked at each other nervously. One of them, a girl with red hair, said quietly, Actually, we're saving these seats for some friends." Maya knew they were lying. She could see the fear in their eyes. They were afraid that if they let her sit with them, Ashley and her friends might start picking on them too. Maya nodded and walked away, feeling more alone than ever. She ended up sitting at an empty table by herself. As she ate her pizza, she could hear Ashley's loud laughter from across the cafeteria. Ashley was surrounded by her usual group of followers, holding court like a queen with her subjects. That's when the most embarrassing incident happened. Maya had been sitting alone for about 10 minutes when Ashley walked over to her table. Tyler and Kevin followed behind her, along with a few other students who wanted to see what would happen. "Oh my goodness," Ashley said in her fake sweet voice. "You're sitting at our table." Maya looked around confused. "Your table? There's no sign or anything. I didn't know this belonged to anyone." "Well, now you know," Tyler said, crossing his arms. "This is where we always sit when we want some privacy." Maya felt her face getting hot. She could see other students in the cafeteria watching the scene unfold. Some were holding up their phones, probably recording what was happening. "I'll move," Maya said quietly, starting to gather her things. But Ashley wasn't done. "You know what? Maybe you should just go back where you came from. This whole town was fine before you showed up." The cafeteria went completely silent. Everyone was staring now, waiting to see what would happen next. Maya felt tears starting to form in her eyes, but she was determined not to cry in front of everyone. Kevin laughed nervously and added, "Yeah, Detroit must be missing you." Maya stood up, with her tray, her hands shaking slightly. She wanted to say something back to defend herself, but her voice seemed stuck in her throat. Instead, she walked away as quickly as she could, leaving Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler laughing behind her. She threw away her half-eaten pizza and went to the bathroom where she finally let the tears come. She looked at herself in the mirror and wondered what she had done to deserve this treatment. At her old school in Detroit, she had friends who cared about her. She was on the debate team and got good grades. Teachers liked her and other students respected her opinions. Here at Lincoln High School, she felt invisible except when Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler decided to make her the center of attention for all the wrong reasons. She was smart and kind, but none of that seemed to matter. All that mattered was that she was different, and different wasn't welcome here. Maya started taking longer routes to her classes to avoid running into the 3 bullies. She would leave 5 minutes early and take the back hallways, even if it meant being late sometimes. She stopped participating in class discussions and kept her head down during group projects. At home, her parents started to notice changes in their daughter. Maya, who used to be chatty and full of energy, now came home quiet and went straight to her room. She said she had lots of homework, but really, she just wanted to be alone. Her mom would call her for dinner, and Maya would eat without saying much about her day. Her dad asked if she had made any friends yet, and Maya would say she was still getting to know people. She didn't want her parents to worry, and she was embarrassed about being bullied. She felt like maybe it was somehow her fault, like maybe she wasn't trying hard enough to fit in. But deep down, Maya knew she didn't deserve to be treated this way. She was a good person who had never hurt anyone. She just wanted to go to school, learn, and maybe make some friends. Instead, she found herself dreading each new day and counting the hours until she could go home and feel safe again. The bullying had become a pattern now, and Maya didn't know how to make it stop. She felt trapped in a situation that seemed to get worse every day with no one to turn to and no end in sight. Maya had been at Lincoln High School for 3 months now, and every day felt like a battle she was losing. The bullying from Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler had become so regular that Maya expected it. She would wake up each morning with a heavy feeling in her stomach, knowing that somewhere during the day one of them would find a way to make her feel small and unwanted. On this particular Tuesday in November, Maya thought she might have a peaceful day. Ashley had been absent from school the day before, and without their leader, Kevin and Tyler seemed less interested in bothering Maya. She had actually eaten her lunch in the cafeteria without any problems and made it through most of her classes, without incident. But Maya's hope for a quiet day ended when the final bell rang. She was gathering her books from her locker when she heard Ashley's voice echoing down the hallway. Ashley was back and she sounded angry about something. Maya quickly closed her locker and tried to leave through a side exit, but it was too late. "There she is," Ashley called out loudly. "Maya, wait up, we need to talk to you." Maya's heart started beating faster. She could hear footsteps behind her as Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler followed her toward the school's courtyard. Other students were leaving for the day, but the courtyard area was usually empty after school. Maya wished she had called her mom to pick her up early, but it was too late now. Maya stopped walking and turned around to face the 3 bullies. Ashley looked angrier than usual. Her blonde hair was pulled back tightly, and her blue eyes were cold and mean. Kevin was grinning like he thought something funny was about to happen. Tyler cracked his knuckles and stood with his arms crossed, trying to look intimidating. "What do you want?" Maya asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Ashley pulled out her phone and started recording. "I want to make something clear to you, Maya. You don't belong here, and everyone knows it." Maya felt confused and scared. "I haven't done anything to you. Why can't you just leave me alone?" Kevin laughed and stepped closer. "You don't get it, do you? Just by being here, you're ruining things. This school was better before you came." Tyler moved to block Maya's path back to the school building. "Yeah, you stick out like a sore thumb. Can't you take a hint?" Maya looked around desperately. The courtyard was empty except for the 4 of them. Her backpack felt heavy on her shoulders, and she clutched the straps tightly. She wanted to run, but Tyler was blocking her way back inside, and the only other exit led to the parking lot where her mom wouldn't be for another 10 minutes. "Look," Maya said, trying to sound reasonable. "I just want to go to school and learn. I'm not trying to cause any problems." Ashley laughed coldly. "But you are causing problems. You make everyone uncomfortable just by being here. Don't you think it would be better if you just transferred to a different school?" "My family lives here now," Maya replied. "I have every right to go to school here." That seemed to make Ashley even angrier. She nodded to Kevin, who suddenly pushed Maya's backpack hard, causing her to stumble forward. Her books fell out and scattered across the wet ground. It had rained that morning, and there were several mud puddles in the courtyard. "Oops," Kevin said with a fake smile. "Looks like you dropped something." Maya knelt down to gather her books, but Kevin kicked her history textbook directly into a muddy puddle. The book landed with a splash, soaking the pages with dirty water. "Kevin, stop it," Maya said, her voice shaking now. But Kevin wasn't done. He kicked her math book in the same direction, then her English notebook. Tyler joined in, using his foot to push her papers into the mud. Maya tried to grab her things, but every time she reached for something, one of them would kick it further away. Ashley kept recording everything on her phone, narrating like she was making a documentary. And here we see Maya trying to clean up her mess. Maybe next time she'll be more careful. Maya was on her hands and knees now, trying to save what she could of her schoolwork. Her jeans were getting muddy, and she could feel tears starting to run down her cheeks. The homework she had spent hours working on was ruined. Her textbooks were soaked and dirty. Please stop, Maya said quietly. These are my school books. I need them for class. Tyler laughed. Maybe you should have thought about that before you decided to come to our school. He said the word our like Maya was an invader who had no right to be there. Maya felt a pain in her chest that was worse than any physical hurt. These weren't just mean words anymore. They were trying to destroy her ability to do her schoolwork, to succeed in her classes. Ashley crouched down next to Maya, still holding her phone up to record. You know what I think? I think you should take some pictures of this mess and send them to your friends back in Detroit. Show them how well you're fitting in at your new school. Maya looked up at Ashley with tears in her eyes. Why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to hurt you? For just a moment, Ashley's expression seemed to soften slightly, like maybe she was thinking about what Maya had said. But then Kevin made another joke, and Ashley's mean smile came back. You want to know why? Ashley said, making sure her phone was still recording. Because this is our school, our town, and our place. You don't belong here, and we're going to keep reminding you until you figure it out. Maya felt completely defeated. Her books were ruined, her clothes were dirty, and 3 students were standing over her laughing while recording her humiliation. She wondered if anyone would ever help her, or if she would have to face this alone for the rest of high school. What Maya didn't know was that someone had been watching the entire scene unfold. Jake Carter, a quiet senior who often stayed after school to work on projects, had been sitting on a bench near the library when he heard voices in the courtyard. At first he thought it was just students talking, but when he heard Maya's voice asking them to stop, he looked up from his notebook. Jake had seen Maya around school and noticed how Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler treated her. He had always felt bad about it. But like most other students, he hadn't known what to do. Ashley was popular and could make life difficult for anyone who crossed her. But watching Maya on her knees in the mud while 3 students laughed at her was too much for Jake to ignore. He quietly took out his own phone and started recording what was happening. Jake was the son of the town's police chief, and he knew that what he was witnessing wasn't just bullying, it was harassment and possibly assault. His father had taught him about gathering evidence and the importance of standing up for people who couldn't protect themselves. As Jake recorded, he also noticed something that Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler had missed. There were security cameras mounted on the school building that could see into the courtyard. The whole incident was probably being recorded by the school's security system as well. Maya was still trying to save her books when Jake made his decision. He couldn't just sit there and watch this happen anymore. He stood up, put his notebook in his backpack, and walked toward the group in the courtyard. Maya heard footsteps approaching and looked up, expecting to see another student who would either join in the bullying or walk past pretending not to see what was happening. Instead, she saw a tall boy with dark hair and serious eyes walking directly toward them. Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler turned to see who was coming. When they saw Jake, they looked surprised but not worried. Jake was quiet and kept to himself, so they probably thought he would just mind his own business like everyone else did. But Jake had made up his mind that today would be different. Today, someone was finally going to stand up for Maya Johnson, and the bullies were about to learn that their actions had consequences they never expected. Jake Carter walked across the courtyard with steady steps, his phone still recording everything. Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler looked up as he approached, but they didn't seem worried. Most students at Lincoln High School minded their own business when it came to Ashley's group. They expected Jake to do the same thing. "Hey, Jake," Kevin said with a nervous laugh. "Just having a little fun here." Maya had an accident with her books. Jake stopped a few feet away from the group and looked down at Maya, who was still on her knees trying to save her muddy textbooks. Her face was streaked with tears, and her clothes were dirty from kneeling in the puddles. Jake felt angry seeing someone treated this way, but he kept his voice calm and steady. "That's interesting," Jake said quietly, "because from where I was sitting, it looked like you 3 were bullying Maya and destroying her school property." Ashley stood up straighter and gave Jake her prettiest smile. "Oh, come on, Jake, don't be so serious. We were just joking around. Maya knows we're just playing, right, Maya?" Maya looked up at Jake with surprise. In 3 months at Lincoln High School, no student had ever stood up for her. She didn't know what to say or what Jake was planning to do. Tyler stepped forward, trying to use his size to intimidate Jake like he did with Maya. "Why don't you mind your own business, Carter? This has nothing to do with you." Jake didn't move or look scared. Instead, he held up his phone so they could see he had been recording. "Actually, it has everything to do with me now. See, I've been watching you three bully Maya for weeks, and I've been documenting everything." Ashley's smile disappeared. "What? Do you mean documenting?" Jake put his phone in his pocket and crossed his arms. "I mean, I have videos, photos, and written records of every time you've harassed Maya. Times, dates, witnesses, everything. My dad taught me how to gather evidence properly." Kevin looked confused. "Your dad?" "Police Chief Carter," Jake said simply. "He's been working on an anti-bullying program for the school district. I've been helping him by documenting incidents of harassment and assault." The word assault made Tyler take a step back. "Assault? We never touched her." Jake pointed to Maya's muddy books and clothes. "You pushed her backpack, kicked her belongings into the mud, and prevented her from leaving. That's assault and destruction of property. And Ashley, you recorded the whole thing on your phone, which means you have evidence of your own crimes." Ashley's face had gone pale. She quickly tried to delete the video from her phone, but Jake shook his head. "Too late for that. I already sent a text to Principal Martinez. She should be here any minute." As if Jake had magical powers, they heard footsteps coming from the school building. Principal Martinez appeared in the courtyard entrance, walking quickly toward the group. She was a serious woman with gray hair who had been principal at Lincoln High School for 15 years. She had zero tolerance for bullying and a reputation for fair but strict discipline. "What's going on here?" Principal Martinez asked, looking at Maya on the ground and the three students standing around her. Ashley immediately tried to take control of the situation. "Principal Martinez, thank goodness you're here. Maya had an accident and dropped all her books. We were just trying to help her." But Jake stepped forward before Ashley could say more. "That's not what happened, Mrs. Martinez. I witnessed and recorded the entire incident. Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler cornered Maya, pushed her belongings into the mud, and were verbally harassing her." Principal Martinez looked at Maya, who was still gathering her ruined books. "Maya, is this true?" Maya stood up slowly, holding her damaged textbooks. She was scared to speak up because she didn't want to make things worse for herself. But she was also tired of staying silent. "Yes," Maya said quietly. "They've been bullying me for months." Principal Martinez's expression became very serious. "Jake, you said you have evidence?" Jake nodded and pulled out his phone. He showed Principal Martinez the video he had just taken, plus several photos he had captured over the past few weeks. "I also have testimony from other students who witnessed previous incidents, and I believe the school security cameras recorded what happened here today." Ashley tried to interrupt. "Mrs. Martinez, Jake is exaggerating. We were just—" "Miss White, please give me your phone," Principal Martinez said. Firmly, Ashley hesitated. "Why do you need my phone?" "Because Jake mentioned that you were recording. I want to see what you recorded." Ashley had no choice but to hand over her phone. Even though she had tried to delete the video, Principal Martinez was able to find it. The video clearly showed Ashley encouraging Kevin and Tyler to destroy Maya's books while she narrated the harassment. Principal Martinez watched the entire video with a growing frown. When it was finished, she looked at Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler with disappointment and anger. "I am shocked and disgusted by what I just saw," she said. "In 15 years as principal, I have never seen such deliberate and cruel behavior from students." Kevin tried to make excuses. "We didn't mean for it to go that far. We were just messing around." "Messing around?" Principal Martinez repeated. "You destroyed another student's textbooks and homework. You humiliated her while recording it. You made her feel unsafe at her own school. This is not messing around. This is serious harassment and bullying." Tyler looked scared now. "What's going to happen to us?" Principal Martinez took out her own phone. "First, I'm calling all of your parents to come to school immediately. Then we're going to my office to discuss the consequences of your actions." She turned to Maya with a much gentler expression. "Maya, I owe you an apology. No student should ever be treated this way at our school. I'm calling your parents too, but you're not in trouble. We need to discuss how we failed to protect you and what we're going to do to make this right." Ashley started to cry, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of anger and frustration that she had been caught. "This isn't fair. Jake was spying on us." Jake shook his head. "I was protecting a fellow student who was being bullied." "There's a difference." Principal Martinez looked at the security camera mounted on the school building. "Jake is right, and I'm sure our security footage will confirm everything he's told me." She called the 3 sets of parents while Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler stood there looking miserable. Maya felt a strange mix of relief and fear. She was glad that someone finally believed her and was taking action, but she was worried about what would happen next. Jake walked over to Maya while Principal Martinez was making phone calls. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. Maya looked at this boy who had just changed everything for her. "Why did you help me? You don't even know me." Jake shrugged. "You didn't deserve what they were doing to you. Nobody deserves that." For the first time in months, Maya felt like maybe she wasn't completely alone at Lincoln High School. Someone had finally stood up for her, and the bullies were about to face real consequences for their actions. Principal Martinez finished her phone calls and turned back to the group. "Everyone's parents will be here within the hour. Ashley, Kevin, Tyler, you 3 come with me to the office. Maya and Jake, please come as well. We have a lot to discuss." As they walked toward the school building, Maya realized that this day had changed everything. The bullying was finally going to stop, and Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler were about to learn that their actions had serious consequences. The next morning, Maya woke up feeling different than she had in months. For the first time since starting at Lincoln High School, she didn't have that heavy feeling in her stomach. She knew that Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler wouldn't be at school today because they had all been suspended. The meeting in Principal Martinez's office the day before had been intense. Maya's parents, Lisa and Marcus Johnson, had arrived looking worried and confused. When they learned what their daughter had been going through for months, they were shocked and angry. Maya's mom had cried when she heard about all the times Maya had come home quiet and sad, pretending everything was fine. Ashley's parents had been embarrassed and furious with their daughter. Her father was a lawyer in town, and her mother was active in the community. They couldn't believe their daughter had been caught on video bullying another student. Kevin's mom had arrived straight from her job at the hospital, still wearing her nurse uniform. She kept apologizing to Maya and her parents, saying she had raised Kevin better than this. Tyler's dad was the assistant coach for the high school football team, and he was devastated that his son had used his size to intimidate a smaller student. Principal Martinez had explained the school's zero-tolerance bullying policy. Ashley received a 2-week suspension and was immediately removed from her position as head cheerleader. Kevin was suspended for 10 days and kicked out of the drama club where he had been preparing for the winter play. Tyler got a week suspension and was banned from playing basketball for the rest of the season. But the consequences didn't stop there. Principal Martinez had also arranged for all 3 students to participate in something called a restorative justice program. This meant they would have to meet with Maya and her parents to truly understand the harm they had caused and work to make things right. Maya walked into school that morning and noticed how different everything felt. Students looked at her differently now. Some came up to her and apologized for not speaking up sooner. Emma, the girl who had helped Maya find her locker on the first day, invited Maya to sit with her group at lunch. "I'm really sorry I didn't say anything before," Emma said as they walked to first period together. "I saw what they were doing to you and I felt terrible about it. I was just scared that if I said something they would start picking on me too." Maya understood. "It's okay. I know it's hard to stand up to people like Ashley." Jake Carter had become something of a hero around school. Other students who had been quietly bullied by Ashley's group came forward to thank him for finally doing something. Teachers praised him for his courage and for documenting everything so carefully. During lunch, Maya sat with Emma and her friends for the first time. They were nice students who were interested in books, movies, and school activities. Maya felt more relaxed than she had in months. She could actually enjoy her food instead of worrying about who might bother her. 2 weeks later, it was time for the restorative justice meeting. Maya was nervous about seeing Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler again, but her parents and Principal Martinez assured her that she would be safe. The meeting took place in a conference room at the school with a trained counselor named Mrs. Davis facilitating the discussion. Ashley walked into the room looking very different from the confident, mean girl Maya remembered. Her eyes were red from crying, and she kept her head down. Kevin looked ashamed and couldn't make eye contact with anyone. Tyler seemed like he had lost all his arrogance and cockiness. Mrs. Davis explained that this meeting was a chance for everyone to talk honestly about what had happened and how it had affected them. She asked Maya to speak first about how the bullying had made her feel. Maya took a deep breath and began to tell her story. She talked about feeling scared to come to school every day. She explained how the bullying had hurt her grades and made her feel isolated and alone. She described how she had stopped participating in class and had even considered asking her parents if they could move to a different town. As Maya spoke, Ashley started crying harder. When Maya finished, Ashley looked up for the first time. "Maya, I am so sorry," Ashley said, her voice shaking. "I had no idea how much we were hurting you. I thought we were just... I don't know what I thought. There's no excuse for what we did." Kevin spoke next. "I feel terrible about the things I said about your hair and the way I made fun of you. I was trying to be funny and get laughs, but I realize now that I was being cruel. You didn't deserve any of that." Tyler was the last to speak. "I used my size to intimidate you, and that was wrong. My grandmother came here from Mexico when she was young, and she told me stories about how people treated her badly because she was different. I should have remembered those stories and protected you instead of hurting you." Mrs. Davis asked Ashley, Kevin, and Tyler what they planned to do to make things right. This is when Maya learned about the real changes they had committed to making. Ashley had already started using her social media accounts to create an anti-bullying campaign. She was working with younger students at the middle school to teach them about the harm that bullying causes. She had also volunteered to give up her spring break to do community service at a local shelter. Kevin had written a play about the effects of bullying and bystander behavior. He was going to perform it for different classes at the school to help other students understand why it was important to speak up when they saw someone being mistreated. Tyler had organized a school-wide Diversity and Inclusion Week. He was working with students from different backgrounds to celebrate what made each person unique, instead of using differences as reasons to exclude or hurt people. Maya was surprised by how sincere their apologies seemed. She could see that they really understood how much they had hurt her, and they were working hard to become better people. Over the next few months, Maya's life at Lincoln High School completely changed. She joined the debate team, where her intelligence and strong speaking voice made her a valuable member. She made friends with students who appreciated her kindness and sense of humor. Her grades improved, and teachers began to see the smart, confident student she really was. Ashley kept her promise about the anti-bullying campaign. She and Maya never became close friends, but Ashley always said hello when they passed in the hallway, and she made sure other students knew that Maya was to be treated with respect. Kevin's play about bullying was performed for the entire school and received a standing ovation. Several students came forward after the performance to report bullying they had witnessed or experienced. Tyler became one of Maya's strongest supporters. He used his popularity as an athlete to make it clear that bullying was not acceptable at Lincoln High School. When new students arrived, Tyler made sure they felt welcome instead of excluded. Jake Carter and Maya became good friends. Jake taught Maya about photography for his school newspaper, and Maya helped Jake with his writing assignments. They both learned that standing up for what's right, even when it's scary, can change everything. By the end of the school year, Maya had not only found her place at Lincoln High School, but she had become a leader in making the school a better place for everyone. She realized that the experience of being bullied, while painful, had taught her empathy and strength that she would carry with her for the rest of her life. The 3 students who had once made her life miserable had learned that their actions had consequences. But more importantly, they had learned that everyone deserves to be treated with kindness and respect. Lincoln High School became a place where differences were celebrated instead of mocked, and where students looked out for each other instead of standing by silently when someone needed help.